So there's a big report on Al Jazeera, and this is actually on TV. I didn't get it from the internet because a friend of mine is doing a lot of channel surfing, and it was about the Crazy Horse Monument. So at first I was like, oh, okay, Crazy Horse, but then I was like, what? What is this about? What? I don't remember. It's just vaguely familiar. So look at it this way. I think a lot of people know about this, but they just can't place it. Here's the things I would give you for like searching in your brain. Do a Google search inside of yourself. Look up huge granite monument, Mount Rushmore style, unfinished, up in the Dakotas, north central United States, huge Indian sculpture. Does that ring any bells? See, that's what my friend should have said to me. Basically, it's a tribute, a monumental, gargantuan tribute to Crazy Horse. That's the name. See, I didn't attach the name to it, but it is Crazy Horse. He's an Oglala Lakota hero. He was a historical figure, obviously now deceased, back in the days, who refused to concede or give away the ancient territorial lands of his tribe, his tribal people. But regardless, the United States still, stole it or, did what they wanted, extracted resources and uranium and everything else from Indian lands. We can debate about that. Look up Russell Means, recently deceased this year. A friend of a friend, by the way. Russell Means, a great figure of a man, just now having become historical. What a legacy of standing up. He actually seceded the lands back to his people. So how this didn't create a war is basically a war on paper. So look up Russell Means. Now, as for Crazy Horse, the monument, this Al Jazeera report was very interesting because it raised a lot of questions about why the thing is not finished now. It's already been, I think, over 60 years since he began it. This is a guy that had worked or had something to do with Mount Rushmore. So Mount Rushmore was completed, and you've got 4 presidents on there. Among them, the most recent is Theodore Roosevelt. Not the Roosevelt that I'm more connected with, but the uncle, the older uncle. In fact, he's a nephew. I mean, his niece. He's a direct uncle through his father's brother. I'm sorry, through his brother, who is the father of Eleanor Roosevelt, who FDR married. Eleanor Roosevelt, of course, you know who that is. So who else is in the Mount Rushmore? What other presidents? We'll just leave that trivia up to you if you want to give me some answers down here in the comments box. But after that, this man wanted to do a sculpture which would rival that. It would match that, but it would have something to do with other figures, not from the federal U.S. government. And he got sponsored by the chief at that time, and he said, why don't you do this? Why don't you come up with something for Crazy Horse? Which he did. It's actually a beautiful artistic shape, and he began on that. But there it is, not even halfway finished. It's taller than the Empire State Building. It's like 40 stories, just from the certain height of it. I think it's taller than, it's taller than the Empire State Building. But you can even go there today. It's very close. It's like a stone's throw from Mount Rushmore. I don't know who owns the land, but here, get this. This is my main point, okay? If you've waited this long. It's really a family project because this man, the original founder, the original artist, sculptor, this legendary figure, creating a legendary figure into a legendary monument, he passed away, I think it was more than 20 years ago. But his wife, the widow, is still carrying on the work, the project, and basically most of their family. From the report, it shows that they're all supporting it, and many of them are physically working on this. And one of them is his daughter, or their daughter. And she is... I was surprised, to be honest with you, because she was working this big jackhammer. And if you've ever held a jackhammer or any of these large construction tools, you know, you're talking about strong power. So, you know, she shows her working it. I don't know how many times, or maybe she only did that once for the photo op, but she's got the whole thing scoped out. It's an engineering marvel, because, you know, you got to measure it. Just imagine sculpting. Just imagine if you had like a 1-foot block of granite or marble. Just imagine sculpting it. How many of you have actually done that? To make a shape that you see in it before that. You know, Picasso was a great sculptor. Or he was a, I don't know what if I want to call it great. I think Picasso is a little bit overrated if you ask me. But Picasso was no asshole. That's one thing I know for sure. Picasso, don't you be calling Picasso no asshole. So, sculpting is very difficult. You can really make a fool out of yourself if you start it and you don't know what you're doing and you come up with just a mess and you say, what do you think that is? Someone says, I think it's a hat. And then they say, no, that's a snake that just ate an elephant. It's not a hat. So, sculpting is very skilled. And to do it at that scale, forget about it. It takes a whole family. That's my point. What an incredible thing to give your family a legacy like this. And the disadvantage of it, though, is what I want to say, is where the criticism comes from, is why does the family have to control it? Because they're not finished yet. Bring more people in on it, skilled laborers, and you could get it done. But they don't want to do it that way. They want to do it slowly. The father or the founder of the whole project was always very patient, do things at a slow pace. So maybe there's a lot to be said for that. What is Crazy Horse doing in his grave? Is he rolling over? Is the sculptor rolling over? I don't know. It seems to be a success story. Like I said, you could go there today. Many thousands of people go. Sometimes they open it so that you can walk across the arm. And certain times a year you can get that amazing view, that perspective on the faces completed. I don't want to say the head, because actually the whole half of the head is this long flowing hair, kind of like my own, of Crazy Horse, blowing in the wind. And that's that huge piece of rock, so they haven't bothered with his hair yet. But they did his face, which really does a lot for you to see that. So I'm going to give it in the icon, the video icon, so you know what I'm talking about. And thanks for listening, especially if you're a Native American fan. I think we're going back to some of those ancient ways, and that's why I'm promoting it.